Because the thing is, you're changing a bad habit for a reason. There's a reason why you're no longer trying to continue this negative eating habit, because there's some type of negative result that you're getting from it. But you're also still doing it because it still gives you some type of positive result. So maybe you're trying to break the bad eating habit of eating too close to bedtime. Maybe you feel like anytime you eat and you get a large plate of food, you have the habit of trying to finish every single thing on your plate. And then next thing you know, you are walking and you feel uncomfortable because of all the food that's in your stomach, or just eating a lot of processed foods. Whichever the case, if that's something that you're wanting to improve on and wanting to create better eating habits and feel like anything you try isn't really necessarily working, in today's video, we're going to talk about the mindset shift that you need in order to break those bad eating habits and how to actually start. So one thing that I've learned of just having my own bad eating habits that I tend to fall into when I get too comfortable is actually breaking the eating habit itself. So one habit that I recently started working on again is not eating too close to bedtime. And one thing that I really wanted to focus on is creating a plan to actually do it and a mindset shift rather than just relying on willpower to not do it. Because one thing I really don't like is the word willpower. I think the word willpower should just be thrown away and discarded, because willpower just never ever works. And when it comes to creating better habits or just changing out bad habits, it really requires first for you to have a mindset shift and then to also have a plan. So the first mindset shift that really worked for me is developing a new self. When you're trying to create new habits, the worst thing that you could do is just constantly focusing on what you did in the past. Because if you're constantly focusing on the things you did in the past and just try to avoid them, you're just focusing on the past of what you've tried doing and it not working, rather than focusing on a new version of yourself. So one thing that I started to do was make an ideal version of myself, of what I want for my health in the future, what I want my health to look like in the future, and anything that I was doing in the present, I made sure it aligned with that future. So instead of looking on your past self of the things that you were doing wrong, focus on the future self, focus on what your future health looks like, focus on what you want your ideal health to look like. Because when you focus on that person and that version that you want to be, anything you're doing in the present, you're going to ask yourself, does this align with where I'm trying to go? Does this align with the person I'm trying to become? Does this align with the health that I want? And if it doesn't, then you second guess. I'm like, okay, hey, these are the changes that I need to make in order for me to create that person, in order for me to meet that person. But if I keep doing this, then I'm never going to be that person. So anything that you do when it comes to things that you're eating and habits that you're creating, ask yourself, is what I'm doing contributing to the person that I'm aiming for? The second mindset shift is something that helps me stay consistent on my new journey, and that is reminding myself of the negative impact the bad habit is causing on my body. So for instance, one thing again that I was trying to work on is eating heavier meals earlier in the day and not eating so close to bedtime. Because number one, I know that it significantly contributes to me gaining weight. And I know that now when I start to eat heavier at night, it leads me to have nightmares. And you would think the weight gain was something that would prevent me from eating late at night. But honestly, it's the nightmares, because it not only affects my sleep, it now affects my weight, it now affects my health, because then I wake up anxious. And so one thing is that when you are changing your bad eating habits, remind yourself why you are no longer doing that habit. And I think it's just so important to not only just have the mindset shift of having a new self-image of who you're now trying to be, but also reminding you the negative drawbacks if you keep doing what you're doing. Because the thing is, you're changing a bad habit for a reason. There's a reason why you're no longer trying to continue this negative eating habit, because there's some type of negative result that you're getting from it. But you're also still doing it because it still gives you some type of positive result. And I think the only time we really end up changing negatives to positive is if the negative starts to outweigh the positive result that we're getting from that thing. So one thing that I like to do, if I see that I'm falling back into an old pattern, I constantly just remind myself, this is why we're no longer doing this. And if I end up doing it, I tend to either record it or I write it down, just so that way my brain memorizes the fact that we are no longer doing this for a reason. So any type of bad habit you're trying to break, whether it's eating late at night, whether it's eating past when you're full, that's another one. That took me something to where I felt like I needed to constantly clean my plate. And then the enjoyment of the food quickly turned into uncomfortability, because now I'm walking and it feels so uncomfortable. I feel like I need to lay down. and I'm no longer enjoying the fact that I just had a really good meal. So one thing that I do when it comes to that is I just wait till I'm like 80% full, take a break, see if my food need to digest, and then go back for more if I feel like I can eat more. But if I don't, then I'll just either throw it away or I'll save it. Because the thing is, you want to enjoy your food. You don't want your food to now cause you an upset stomach, and now you're thinking more about the fact that you have an upset stomach rather than the fact that you had a really good meal. So another mindset shift is to remind yourself of how it feels when you do that bad habit, because that will be something that keeps you motivated to stay consistent with creating new habits and no longer go back and constantly repeat the bad habit that you were doing. So based off of my past experience and failures and things that actually work, one thing that I've realized is anytime that I'm trying to break a bad habit, one thing that I realize is that I need to have something that goes in its place. So one thing for me is sometimes I end up doing a thing where I'm not really hungry, but I want something to snack on. And growing up, if I really wanted to snack on something, I'll probably get something that's processed, that's quick to eat, and it doesn't require much energy from me to actually make it. And as I got older, especially hitting my 30s, I realized I cannot do that anymore. So one thing that I started doing is surrounding my space with fruit. So I have a couple of 2 to 3 go-to fruits that either like a banana, kiwi, apple, something that really doesn't require me to like cut or do extra stuff with it in order to make it, that in case I do have something, a moment where I'm like, I want to snack on something, I'm not really that hungry, but I just want to snack on something, I'll go to fruit first. And I feel like that is such an easy and best thing to go to because number one, I'm actually getting something that's giving me nutrients. So probably actually end up making me feel full just from eating it. And I'm not just endlessly, mindlessly snacking. Like I'm actually giving my body some type of nutrient in the process. And going back to the eating late at night and breaking that habit, one thing that I realized is that if I'm going to eat earlier in the day, I want to make sure that I have some type of light snack to snack on just in case I do get hungry right before bedtime. So this actually ended up happening about a couple of days ago to where my last meal was like around 4:30, 5 o'clock. And then around the time I was going to bed, I think it was honestly close to 10. It was probably like 9:30, 10 o'clock. And I really wanted something to snack on. Like I felt like I was getting a little hungry, or I felt like if I woke up in the middle of the night, I was going to be hungry. And so one thing I ended up doing was first trying to drink as much water as possible, because maybe it wasn't even the fact that I was hungry. I was just probably dehydrated. But when I felt like I was still getting those like hunger feelings, what I just decided to do was quickly make some roasted chickpeas. And to me, this was a really good, healthier option because number one, again, I'm still getting nutrients from the beans, but I'm still also enjoying some food in the process. So when you're working on breaking a bad habit, have something go in its place. Whether it's not cleaning out your plate even though you're full, work on eating only 80%. Take a break. If you're still hungry and you want some more after like 30 minutes, then go back and eat some more. If you have the habit of eating late at night, have a little healthy go-to snacks that you could eat in case you get hungry. And if you are someone who sometimes just likes to snack on something and may not be hungry, instead of going to any type of processed foods, have fruits that you could easily eat and eat those first. So those are the 2 mindset shifts that I really think will significantly work in breaking bad habits, and one simple way of how to actually start that process. Definitely let me know if this video was helpful, and if this video was helpful, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel if you're not already subscribed. And if you like more videos like this, let me know in the comments so I will make more videos like this. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and as always, I will see you guys in the next video.